What's going on, guys? You are tuned into another crazy dope episode of the Win and Play podcast, and I am your host, Sean Gary, national youth speaker and author, and I have a crazy dope guest with me today. And before we get into our guest, those of you that are watching, first let's tell them like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
You won't regret it.
Boom. And then for those of you that are like, wait, this is my first time here, what's going on? This podcast is for your principals, your teachers, your educators, anybody, parents as well, any youth advocate. If you're working with young people, then this is a place for you to get some win and plays, some tips, some ideas on strategies, how to handle your students, how to better plan, whatever it is that the tips may be dropped from the guests on the show. So go ahead and like, subscribe, share with other educators so that they can tune in as well. And if you've been here before, thanks for tuning back in. Welcome back, all that good stuff. And so what we do on our podcast, every single episode, it's the Win and Play podcast. So the Win and Plays in sports, you use the Win and Plays, then you win the game. You win enough games, you get to the championship. Win the championship, then you get a ring. So every episode, we eat a ring pop. So you get to pick as the guest which one you want, and then I'll pick after you.
Going with pink.
Pink, there we go. Let's see. Rainbow sherbet. I do not want that one. Painter's tongue. I tried that one before, and it definitely painted my tongue. So I'm going to go with the cherry. Keep it traditional. Strawberry, that's a good one too. Cherry. You can't really go wrong with cherry. I think that's like the first flavor everybody picks when they make something.
You can't go wrong with ring pops.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my
All right. All right, cool. All right, so go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and maybe tell them something really cool about what you're doing now, but without the details so that we can then get into the detail later.
Oh, wow. All right, so hey, everyone. My name is Dr. Crystal Collier, and honestly, I do a lot of stuff now. Traveling the world would be one of the biggest things that I enjoy doing.
Oh, I like that one. I like that one. And if you would like to travel the world and get paid to do it, this might be a place for you to stay tuned as well, right?
Right.
All right. All right. So let's get into it. So let me ask you this, because you've been teaching. We've known each other for a really long time now. And when we met, it was in education. So How far back, how many years have you been in education?
Oh, my gosh. This is year 24 for me in education.
You got one for every hour of the day.
And I've been in various roles, from a classroom teacher to an assessment coordinator to director of academics to an instructional coach.
Nice.
I've done a lot.
Nice.
When it comes to education. So I've
that's what's up.
Had the privilege of seeing all walks.
Yeah, that's good, because your information, your thoughts, your perspective is going to be so well rounded because you've been able to see what it's like on so many different, from so many angles, if you will. Let me ask you this. When was it when you decided, like, you know what? I want to work with students. I want to get in education. Were you young? Like, was it an experience? What was it where you said, this is what I want to do?
Actually, I did.
Excuse me.
I did not.
Really?
I was competing internationally in poetry. I wanted to be a writer.
Okay.
But God was just tugging on my coattails about it. And he kept saying, no, I want you to do this. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Because I love writing. I love public speaking. But I was in my early 20s. I was about 22 when I started first teaching.
Okay.
And then once I got into it with all the kids that I helped with different various situations, not even just in the classroom, but with homelessness and parents who were addicted to drugs, and I've seen a lot of different things. Yeah. And I've been able to help a lot of families, a lot of kids, a lot of parents, having students reach back out to me and say, you know what, Dr. Collier, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even have went to college.
Wow.
And so it was a traumatic experience this whole way through. And I say that because if God had not placed me here, I wouldn't have been able to save so many lives. He even tasked me with being able to help a few students that wanted to commit suicide.
Wow.
And because of me being that one person that noticed something was wrong, I was able to get them help.
Wow.
And to prevent that and to watch them become moms or dads now with their own families.
Wow.
And so
that's huge.
It was probably then that I understood why he wanted me in this role, even though this was not the role that I originally chose for myself.
Yeah. No, wow.
So
that's what's up. That's what's up. When you said you started teaching, what was it like that first year that got you? How did you end up getting into the teaching?
Well, I had just graduated from UC, and I used to actually work for the Citizen newspaper that they had at UC.
Okay.
And so I really loved it. But when you come out of college, first thing, you come out with your degrees and you're like, I'm ready to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it goes into writing, they want you to already have 5 years of experience. How are you going to have that if you just
coming
graduated?
out of college? Yeah.
Right. And so, to be honest, it just fell in my lap. Literally, it fell in my lap.
Wow.
And my first year teaching, it was actually to take over for another teacher for a fourth grade science position.
Okay.
You know, and I believe the school was Burton at that time. And I walked in that classroom and I bonded so with those kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had kids that lived with their grandparents. And, you know,
what grade was it?
Fourth.
Fourth grade?
Fourth was the very first year for me.
Science. Well, how did you feel about science? I know a lot of people are like, I don't want nothing to do with science.
Oh, no, I love science. Yeah, science is fine.
Okay. Yeah.
For me, the hiccup is math. If it's not money, I'm not interested.
Yeah, man. Ain't money, I ain't interested.
But no, I actually really loved it. I really loved the kids. And so it was a phenomenal first year experience. And the lady who I was taking over for, she worked with me in the classroom for a while, for a few months before she left. So my first year was not like most teachers' first year. I had a wonderful mentor in that classroom with me. And then so when she transitioned out, it was all me.
Smooth flow. Yeah.
It was smooth. It was so nice.
That's what's up. How long did you teach science?
So that first year I did the fourth grade, but then I moved schools that second year and taught 7th and 8th grade science.
Okay.
And so at a different school. And so I got to work with the older kids, but then that's when I started really seeing how necessary education was.
Yeah.
Because that year was probably the most traumatic, because that was the year where I had a 6th grader that came back from maternity leave.
Wow.
I had
a 6th grader that came back from maternity leave. Wow.
I had a student who was a drug dealer.
Wow.
But he was a drug dealer so that he could feed him and his sister.
Yeah.
Because when I talked to him about it, he said, well, if I don't, because my mom is never here.
Yeah.
If I don't, then my sister and I won't be able to eat.
Right.
I had another student who was always, 7th grader, who was always getting into fights all the time, but nobody bothered to find out why. They just labeled him as a bad kid. But I took him aside and was like, well, what's going on? I'm new here, but I want to get to understand why you're fighting all the time.
Right.
Come to find out that this boy was fighting for his life every day because his mother was addicted to drugs.
Wow.
And all the kids in the neighborhood knew, so they would tease him about it.
Wow.
And so he was fighting to survive. But nobody bothered to ask him that question.
Right.
And then that was also the same year that I had an 8th grader who was always fun, smiling. And then the one day I noticed that he wasn't his normal self. He was just quiet. And I kept him back after class.
Excuse me.
And I asked him, I said, hey, what's going on with you today?
Yeah.
And his response to me floored me. And he asked me, had I ever thought about killing myself? So that was, and I said, let's talk about this. He grew up in a home with a single father, and it was just him and his brother. And so I was able to get him some help and turn that around.
Wow.
So that was my first situation where
So year 2, you was like deep in the, what in the world is going on? Wow, this is crazy. Wow.
And there was that second year, it was so many things.
Yeah.
It was so many things.
Did you ever feel like you were unprepared, or like, man, what do I do with this? Like, how do I help? I want to, but what do I do?
No. I figured that if it was a task that God tasked me to, for me, failure is never an option.
Yeah.
There's always a way. So I knew then that I had to tune in to figure out what needed to be done.
Yeah.
Because for many of them, they just needed somebody they could talk to. They needed a sounding box.
Right.
So I've never been one that's like, oh, I'm unprepared. I've always been a fighter, right? So I've always been the type of person, when you put me in the most unseen circumstance, I'm going to come out swinging.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Because I cannot allow myself to fail, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
There always has to be a push. And I wanted those kids to be able to see that too.
Yeah.
Because even if you have no one else fighting for you, you have to have that drive to fight for yourself.
Right. For sure.
Because I even had a student that was in the 8th grade that year his story is probably one of the most amazing, because he had no family support at home. He lived with an uncle, but he was an A honor roll kid all the time.
Yeah.
But it was because he pushed himself.
Yeah.
He had that drive.
It
was never
sure.
never an excuse. My thing is always, there should never be an excuse, because there's always a way. If you want it bad enough,
right,
go get it.
Out.
Go get it.
That's what's up. So what did you do as you were teaching those years? Did you do anything, like any clubs or anything, or were you just kind of focusing on the school? Or
no,
what else was you doing in the building?
So I would say that second year I also ran a modeling club called Runway 21.
Okay.
And so we would kids would model different places around the city. See,
nice.
Over the years, I've coached varsity volleyball. I've done a lot of different things.
What sports? What sports did you coach?
Just volleyball.
Volleyball.
As far as coaching the sports, but I ran a lot of different clubs. So as far as we're so many that I can't even remember at this point.
Right.
I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
For sure. Let me ask you this. The grade, so you started with 4th grade, right? And then that second year you were in the 7th and 8th, or 6th and 7th? What was
6th,
it?
7th,
6th, 7th, and 8th. Okay. So what's the full range that you've taught from?
Oh gosh. From 2nd grade to 9th grade.
2nd to 9th, okay. And then what do you like the most? Like, which grade level do you feel, or did you enjoy the most?
My 2 favorite grades were 2nd and 3rd.
Oh, really? And why is that?
Because I found that when I taught the older grades, I spent more time deprogramming them and then having to teach them the right way.
Right.
Because people just pushed them on, passed them on, or they weren't learning or didn't take the time with them.
Yeah.
And I would have to start from scratch, and I say, scrap everything you learn. We gonna do something different.
Yeah.
And then with the younger kids, I could just teach them what they needed correctly from the beginning.
Yeah, right.
So that nobody would have to go back.
No reprogramming,
and
they already
fix.
got it.
And they got it the correct way.
Oh, that's good.
Because that part is important to me.
Would you say, you mentioned the one teacher who was helping you that first year. Is there anybody else who you can think of, like over the years, that was like a good mentor, somebody that was able to pour into you and inspire you or anything?
So I'm smiling because not a teacher, but I had a few amazing principals.
Okay.
Not many.
Yeah.
But a few amazing principals.
Not many.
And that's real.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the two that stick in my the two that stick in my mind the most. Derek Shelton. Okay. Dr. Derek Shelton.
Yeah.
And I actually worked for him for 3 different schools.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he lives in a different state now. But yeah. But that's how, because he believed in the kids. He worked with the parents, worked with the kids. And then one of the second ones that was just as influential was Mr. Brian Cannon.
Okay.
And he actually had ran for political office.
Oh, wow.
Last year.
Okay.
He was trying to get on the board.
Nice.
And Brian Cannon, they both, and it's so funny because I still talk to both of them, and I would tell them both, one day y'all have to meet. Y'all have to meet.
Right. You two
because they remind me of each other.
Yeah.
The same focus, the same purpose. It's about the communities for them. It's about our kids doing amazing.
Yeah.
It's about our kids doing well and becoming something.
Yeah.
And they actually, I've worked with a lot of principals over the years, right? But those were 2 men that they didn't mind getting their hands dirty.
Okay.
Right? They would jump in. They're in the community with you.
Yeah.
They're in the classrooms with you. They're talking to the parents with you.
Yeah.
Like those things to me were so important.
Right.
So important.
Right.
You know, and I'll have to say, you know, and as a leader, I was able to work with Dr. Shelton as a leader as well, when I, you know, me being a leader as well. And then another principal that I had that I felt like was a very good leader, but we were like yin and yang. We both brought good things to the table was Craig Horn.
Okay.
And because he was the principal that he didn't task anybody else. If we missing a teacher, he'll say, you know what, I'll go take that class. I love that. To me, I mean, because he was about community and passion, and the kids like it too. But I love that because now you don't see too many principals that'll do that.
That'll jump in the class.
That'll jump in the classroom.
Right.
Most often now, leaders, once they get in that leadership role, they forget what it's like to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So they forget the struggles that the teachers go through.
Right.
So for me, anytime you see a leader that's willing to do that, that's the leader I want to work under.
That's
right?
what's up.
That's the type of leader I want to work under. And then the other two gentlemen that I mentioned before, they were family leaders. Like they were like family. If you say, hey, I'm having an event, they're going to show up.
Nice.
Right?
Support.
They support their staff outside of work. I can't think of how many events my child had growing up that one of those men was at.
We're there. Wow. That's what's up.
You know, even at my daughter's party for her 8th grade graduation, one of those men was there. Like, but they're always those advocate for our youth. And that's vital. For me, that's what makes a good leader.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's not about a title.
Yeah.
It's about what you pour into the picture.
That's good.
Right.
That's good. Let me ask you kind of the opposite then. What is, how do I want to ask? I'm thinking of a principal who's kind of on that other spectrum, right? The other end of the spectrum where it wasn't that good of an experience. And so I'm trying to figure out how to ask for a specific, you know, something that happened versus in general, what was it about them that just was like, they just didn't, either y'all didn't click or they just didn't understand, they didn't get it, like that made it a bad experience or not the greatest experience.
Okay.
So anything in there.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
So for me, you know, I can think of a few experiences. You know, I had principals that once they were in that role, that was just their role. Like they never left their office. If you never leave your office, you don't know what's going on in the building. Right. That part.
Right. Yeah.
Or, you know, I've seen principals that didn't know their job. Couldn't do the role.
Wow.
They have the title.
Yeah.
But they couldn't tell you about data. They couldn't tell you about instruction in the classroom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because they didn't know them themselves.
Right.
That looks different.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a problem where we don't click, because when I'm at the point where I'm doing the stuff that you should be doing,
right,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because I need you to know data. I need you to be able to jump inside the classroom to see what's going on with the teachers. I need you to not stay in your office the whole time.
Right.
Because you have to be active and present and vigilant for our kids to have a strong future.
No, that's good. That's good. And you said you are you connected with a lot of students? Do you run into, you know, a number of students from over the years, like that are adults now? And what's some of the stuff they do?
Well, they're all different. Some of them, just like I have a couple that just got married.
Okay.
They've been together since 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
Since I was the teacher in 8th grade.
Wow.
I have one that's
cool.
in the military. Like, I mean, they're doing great. There are a lot of kids that I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
You know, I have a couple that I laugh. 3 of them, they just celebrated one of their birthdays, and they've been friends since 8th grade, since my 2nd year of teaching.
Wow.
But I see them. I talk to them. We talk on social media. They reach out. You know, I had the privilege of going to one of my former students' high school graduation a couple of years ago.
That's cool.
So those things, like, I really, really enjoy.
How does that feel, seeing them, like, being successful in life and growing on? Like, what's that feeling like?
It feels good. It feels really good.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, one of my former students, I was basically like a second mom to her. It's so funny because we did an amusement park with her and my daughter like 2 years ago. And it's so funny. I was like, well, you got a big sister. You always want a big sister. Here you go right here. You can call her at any time because she was just finishing up college.
Okay.
But it's a good feeling to see them with their families.
Yeah.
To see them successful. To see them pushing forward.
Yeah. That's cool.
You know, just celebrating their stuff too. Their marriages, them having kids, all the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Let me ask you this. What in a classroom, or not classroom, but in a school period, even if it's on the bus, but what's something that in 24 years was one of the craziest things that you've seen and experienced or happened like in a school and you were in? What's something wild?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I should say this on the podcast.
Whatever you can say, right? No names, no
but
schools,
it is the truth.
Right.
Okay, so one of the craziest things, honestly, that I saw was that I saw a middle schooler swing on a teacher.
Really? Wow.
And the teacher snapped out, forgot that he was at work.
Uh-oh.
And before he thought about it, he had hit him with a 2-piece and the kid dropped him. It was all like,
what? The kid got hit? What? Wow.
But it wasn't, you could tell he wasn't his normal work self. It was a reaction to self-defense.
So did he bob him? And then pop.
That's exactly how it happened. And we were just like, oh my goodness. Oh no.
Oh, that's terrible. That situation, period.
Yeah, I mean, and he, talked to the parent. The parent wasn't mad at him because.
Really?
No, because the parent was like.
He swung on you.
Yeah. He stepped out of that boundary. And the
goodness.
teacher said, I honestly would have never done it. He said it was just a reaction.
Right.
It was a normal reaction.
And would like everybody laugh or
no,
go crazy?
I think we was all in shock.
Right. Like
it was silent.
Oh my gosh.
It was no crazy.
I can imagine everybody going like.
We were silent.
Like what just happened? Yo, what just happened?
He learned that day, unfortunately.
Man, I hate you.
Well, because I think that in all seriousness, I think sometimes that they forget that we're regular people too.
Yeah.
And
I'm at school, so they got to take whatever I say and do.
Well, not only that, they think that the educator we are, that's all we are.
Yeah.
They don't realize that we're different people outside of here.
Right.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah, families.
Like,
and
don't let the job fool you. It's a job.
Right.
But there's a whole nother hat that everybody puts on when they leave the schools.
For sure. And speaking of that, I think this is a perfect segue. What's some of the things that you've done over the years outside of school, leading to your company and sharing, all about what you got going on? You got your swag on. You got to show them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Got to show them the swag.
Right, y'all see the swag?
Yeah.
So I am the owner and CEO of Diva Boss Travel. So I was always the person that was always traveling. My friends and I would say, they'd be like, hey, pack a bag. We're taking a road trip. And so that actually led to me wanting to branch out and travel more. Then friends used to always ask me, hey, help me find this flight. Help me do this. Yeah. And so then one day a friend was talking to me and said, you know what, you always booking everybody's trips. Why don't you be a travel advisor? I said, you know what? That makes sense.
A little bit. Yeah.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And so not only did I become a travel advisor, but I was like, no, I want my own business.
Yeah.
And so I book all kind of travel trips.
Yeah.
International, like I travel internationally.
Yeah. You just got back from somewhere. Where'd you go just a minute ago? You just got back from somewhere.
Recently, I just came back from a cruise in Mexico.
Okay.
But over the summer, I was in Bali, in Indonesia.
Yeah. I talking about that one. Yep.
So, so I book all kind of trips. We're talking about hotels, flights, again, international, local, state to state.
That's what's up. Yeah. Tell them your site. Where can they connect with you?
Yeah.
When you booking something, next time you booking something, holla at your girl.
So you can find me on any social media platform. It's called Diva Boss Travel. You can't miss that.
Diva Boss Travel. Let's go. Yeah. Shout out. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So how long you been doing that now?
I think I'm going on year 7.
Okay. Nice.
Like I said, I always travel.
Yeah.
Just now it's just, let's work with it.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
But the problem is though, y'all, because I'm always traveling, when I'm grounded, it feels so weird.
Like I'm back. I gotta go somewhere.
I was like, wait a minute. No, I gotta go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, like right now I'm on a countdown. I'm like, okay, next trip in less than 30 days. Let's go.
Where you going next?
So I'm actually taking my daughter on a cruise. So
Okay.
on a cruise.
Nice.
But yeah.
Does she know where? Can you say or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were supposed to go. I'm supposed to take her, actually fly her to Mexico before COVID.
Oh, okay.
COVID hit,
Yeah.
and we had to cancel our trip. So she hadn't been able to go to Mexico yet. So she's actually gonna go.
She excited?
Yeah.
That's what's up. Now, speaking of your daughter, if you can share a little bit about her, brag on her some, because you said she's done a lot of stuff and growing up and whatnot, and you've helped her a lot with a lot of different things. What's some of the stuff she's done as you've been an educator and a mom at the same time, and like paint that picture? What's that been like?
Oh my gosh, yes. So my daughter's 15 now, in high school, sophomore. So crazy.
Yeah,
but
time flies.
But it's even crazier because she started kindergarten at 4.
Okay.
So that was a blessing because, as he said, you know, when I was teaching in the classroom, before I would leave to go teach, I would actually work with my daughter when she was little on the Your Baby Can Read program. I started with that.
Nice.
And what made me do
I remember that.
But what made me do that was because I would see so many teachers that wouldn't work with their kids at home. And I'm going, how can you work with everybody else's kids but not work with your own?
Right.
And so I'm like, no, I could never do that. So I would work with her before I would come to work with everybody else's kids.
That's cool.
And then by the time she was 1, I sent her to a friend that was a kindergarten teacher. She would go on weekends. I'd take her there to practice her reading and stuff. And then we just started working from there. By the time she started preschool, she was already reading and writing her first and last name. She was already counting to 100. Like she, and she knew her ABCs, and I'm not talking about the song because that's not knowing the ABCs. I'm talking about being able to identify uppercase without
what they sound like. Right.
But I mean, and then we flourished from there. For me, I think the growing point was because people always say that kids that come from a lower income family, the vocabulary is low. Kids that come from a middle class, and it's so many words, but then they always say kids that come from a profitable family, their vocabulary is higher. So again, I'm that person. Failure is never an option. Let me go ahead and show you. And I think for me, the biggest thing was they talked about how kids that come from single parent homes don't achieve as well academically. It was like a study I read, and I was like,
not in this house.
And I mean, basically, and I laughed and was like, let me go ahead and show them something different.
Yeah.
And I made that my mission.
To
be unique and show them something different. I was like, I said, I'm so tired of the stereotypes. I hate stereotypes.
For sure.
So for me, I worked extremely hard with her. My kid was gifted and talented tested 3 months before her 7th birthday.
Wow.
And, you know, always scoring high in vocabulary. Because I was like, nah, we gonna show them.
You gonna know these words, though.
But these words. Not only that, I mean, by the time she started preschool, she was reading beginner chapter books.
Wow.
I'm like, no. Like, no, let's show them that we're outside of the box. Different than what they believe.
Right.
Because to be honest, I hear so many excuses. People like, oh, well, I'm a single parent. I can't. And I'm like, that is not an excuse. And people use it as a cop-out. That should be more motivation to fuel your fire to make sure that your kid has what they need.
Right.
But so by the time she was 6, she was doing pageants.
Wow.
So public speaking and traveling everywhere because I'm driving or get on a plane. And, you know, by the time she was in middle school, she was competing international. Like, and had an international title.
That's dope.
But then when COVID happened, that's when she was like, Mom, I just want to be a regular kid now. And I just started laughing because she was also modeling. She's been in at least 6 magazines when she was younger.
Wow. That's what's up.
So now we're in the high school days and she just wants to be a regular kid and play sports.
She's like, let me just do what the kids do.
Right. And it's so funny because we're talking about this now, but most of her friends have no idea the things that she's actually done. Like she had her own proclamation at the age of 7 in the city of Cincinnati from Mayor Cranley.
Wow, that's what's up.
Yeah, from all the volunteer works. Like she has like the gold and silver stars from volunteering for the president.
Dang,
like,
that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
But she's a quiet kid, so you would never know. And she would never tell you.
Yeah, real humble. That's what's up.
That's that's been a grace in itself. But pushing that education piece, I started her out in the public school. And we dealt with bullying and different things like that. I tried to advocate, talk to the principal and stuff that was in charge. And it was a waste of my time.
Dang.
It was a waste of my time.
That sucks.
And so, unfortunately, I had to change what I had told my kid.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. I had to put her in Taekwondo and everything. It's like,
you're going to learn how to defend yourself.
It is what it is.
Right. Judo chop a neck real quick.
And unfortunately, it took for her to defend herself.
Yeah.
For them to come. I'm like, oh, but when she was telling.
Right.
It wasn't important.
Yeah, now she done knocked some people out. Yeah.
But so after that, we knew that public was not the way to go for us. So we swapped over to private school.
Yeah.
And we've been in private school ever since.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because as an educator, I grew up through the public school system. But back then, because I'm from Cincinnati, but back then, all our schools were bilingual schools. So I went to a foreign language school. The city was filled with foreign language schools. I don't know whatever happened to that. But they did our kids a disjustice when they took that away.
Yeah.
And so, so now you got parents like me who don't trust in the regular school system. And we put our kids in private school. Why? People will probably ask. And it's, to be honest, because now the school system is failing our kids.
Yeah.
And they're just passing our kids on. Kids can't read and write.
And getting passed up to the next grade.
And they're passing them on.
Yeah, I've seen
and
that.
These kids are going to be our future leaders.
Right. They can't spell,
they can't spell, they can't read, they can't add, can't multiply, can't sign their name in cursive.
Let them have a charger missing and no access to their phone, and it's over.
But they got the new J's.
Right.
But so for me, that was a big piece. So we swapped over to the private school system because guess what? Now in the private school system, my kid goes to school with doctors and judges and lawyer kids.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're not going to let the system fail their kids.
Right.
That part.
Yeah. That's what they need to be. You need to make changes here. And then the schools probably already know, like, to come correct because
exactly
they ain't going to be open much longer if they don't.
And it's not going to get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
So I had to put her somewhere where I felt comfortable, where she was going to flourish and she was going to get what she needed.
What she needed, yeah. That's good.
And that's a hard decision. Especially when you're changing the outcome and have to put your kid where they're going to be a minority.
Yeah.
But we do what we got to do to make sure that they can actually stand the test of time and they can hold a conversation with the future leaders.
Right, yeah.
They can bring something to the table.
Yeah.
And not just watch them.
Right, and seeing them on TV, but being one of them. Yeah, that's good. Let me ask you this before we get to our final part. With the different positions that you've had, which position do you feel helped you to see the most, which one was the most valuable position when it comes to understanding the full dynamics, not just the student, but also the parents, and being also able to see what the school system or what would you call it, the district or whatever, like which position allowed you to see the most angles to go, okay, well, maybe I didn't know that's what they were dealing with. Oh, wait, now I see what they are dealing with over there with the laws and the rules and the things, you know what I mean? Not just from a teacher's perspective.
If I can be honest, me being a certified life coach.
Okay.
That part.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with the school at all.
Yeah. And then why would you say that?
Because now I'm looking at everything from a different lens. So taking the politics out of school, out of it, taking the emotion out of it, and it allows me to see things differently. But if we're talking about what position within the school, I would say when I was director of academics, because I dealt with the kids, I dealt with the parents, I dealt with high schools and colleges and other schools, and I'm also dealing with the state. So I was looking at the data, and I could tell who's going. I'm reading the reports, I'm analyzing them. So with that position, I dealt with everything. And I was director of academics for a K through 12 school. So I'm looking at everything. All the components, where they need to go next, transcripts, all the different things.
What would you say, like, over the years, in 24 years, what would you say was the biggest challenge for you? What was the hardest thing that you had to do or learn to say, you know what, I got to figure this out and, you know, break through, like?
For me, if I can be honest, the hardest challenge for me was the politics in education. I hate the politics. Period. Because if we're about educating kids, then let it be about that. And let it not be about the money, how much money each kid brings into a seat. Or what can we get for this kid? No, let it be about making sure the kid is actually well-rounded.
And learning and
That's the part that I struggle with the most, because I'm an advocate. If it's not right, I'm the one that's going to be like, oh, nah.
Right.
This is not right. I'm the one that's going to say, no, I'm not passing this kid on.
Right.
Or no, we're doing this kid an injustice. I'm not the one that's just going to go along with it.
Sure.
So that's the hardest part, because I'm going to be honest.
What would you say, what advice would you give another young teacher who feels like they're running into that politics, the political element? What advice would you tell them to, like, keep pressing?
Stay true to yourself and don't do anything that you don't believe in. You have to know when to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. Because I'm definitely one that was good. No, I'm not comfortable with that. But I think a lot of teachers, young and old, they get swayed in with people just telling them, oh, well, you just have to do that. They have to stick to their values. If you don't stick to your values, you wind up doing a whole lot of things that you would never do. They got to be able to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. Or my favorite line was, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And I would say it wouldn't matter who it was to, because if I did not feel comfortable with it, I didn't think it was ethical, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. Because who do you think they're going to throw under the bus later? You know, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Right. It's going to be on you. All right. So this part of the podcast, we give our guests two options, part A, part B. So option A is you get to choose principals, teachers, and parents and give each one 3 winning plays, 3 tips, 3 things that you want to help them with. Or option B, where you choose one of them, a principal, teacher, or parent, and give them 5. So which option you want to go with?
Oh, I'm going with A.
Going with A.
Because I'm well-rounded.
All right. Let's get it.
Okay, so winning plays for principals, because I had to think about this because I wanted it to be good.
Yeah.
Empower and support teachers, number 1. Number 2, focus on student-centered leadership, because we have to train the kids to be leaders.
That's good.
And number 3, foster a positive school culture.
Nice. Make sure y'all writing this down, principals. Make sure y'all get this.
All right, for the teachers, build strong relationships with students is number 1. Number 2, incorporate active and engaging instruction. And number 3, which is a big one, prioritize organization and self-reflection.
Nice. Teachers, hope you wrote it down. Rewind it back if you need to. Go ahead. We'll wait. I'm frozen. Or am I? I'm just playing. All right, go ahead.
And the biggest one for me is about parents, because one of my favorite poems is called 3 Sculptures.
Okay.
So if you haven't read it, you have to read it.
3 Sculptures. Okay.
And it talks about how the teacher, the parent, and the child, in a nutshell, are partnerships to make sure that the kid is successful.
Nice.
So my 3 things for parents. Number 1, which is the most important thing, be actively involved.
That's good. For sure.
Number 2, foster a positive learning environment at home.
Yeah, that's good.
And number 3, because kids grow up, communicate openly and often.
Nice. Know what's going on. Know what's going on. No, that's good.
And ask
That's
questions.
good.
Ask questions.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's dope, man. Guys, I know you guys have gotten some nuggets, some diamonds off of this episode. I know you have. Go back, rewind it, listen again, come back again. And then go ahead, give them your website one more time for those that maybe want to do some traveling. So
if they want to do some traveling, they can find me on any social media platform, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or you can just send me an email at divabosstravel@gmail.com. The website is too long for them.
It'll be in the description. There we go. It'll be in the description. Click the link, the description below.
But if you go, honestly, if you go to Instagram, my Lincoln tree has the website on it.
There you go. We'll make sure you can get access when you're watching this, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. Anybody you want to shout out? Any special thank yous, or anybody you want to, highlight?
Honestly, I just want to shout out the parents that are actively involved and are really pushing their kids, and that are the open vessel to make sure that their future leaders are getting what they need. That part.
Nice.
Because I feel like parents probably don't hear it enough, the ones that are actually doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a big piece.
That's good. All right, y'all. Hey, this is another phenomenal episode. You got some crazy, dope information. Met another awesome person who has another element and aspect of information and experience to bring to you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this. You'll like, subscribe, share it with somebody else. And until the next time, it's your boy, and we out.
Take care, y'all.
Peace.